Jin Park stood at the bridge of her salvage ship, the Lucky Star, watching the endless field of broken spacecraft drift by. The sector was known as the Graveyard, where thousands of ships had been abandoned after the Great War. Jin had spent 15 years as a salvager, finding valuable parts in these old wrecks. "Captain, we're approaching the target," said Tae, her chief engineer. Tae had worked with Jin for 7 years. His eyes never left the scanner as he spoke. Jin nodded. "Good. Hyun, slow us down. D, run final security checks." The Lucky Star glided between massive chunks of dead ships. Some were ancient warships. Others were civilian transports. All were now just floating metal, waiting to be picked apart by crews like Jin's. "That cruiser looks promising," Jin pointed to a large ship with its hull mostly intact. "Those engine parts could fetch a good price in the border markets." Day, the security officer, checked his weapon. "I don't like this area, Captain. Pirates have been reported nearby." Jin smiled. "Pirates avoid the graveyard. Too many places to hide, too easy to get ambushed." The Lucky Star docked with the derelict cruiser. The team put on their spacesuits and prepared to board. "Standard procedure," Jin reminded them. "We find the engine room, take what we can carry, and get out. No wandering off." They entered the dead ship through an airlock. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness, revealing a corridor that hadn't seen human life in centuries. "Still some emergency power," Tae noted, pointing to dim red lights along the floor. "Interesting for a ship this old." They moved carefully through the ship. Everything was silent except for their breathing and the occasional creak of the old metal structure. After 20 minutes, they reached the engine room. It was huge, with machinery that towered above them. "Jackpot," whispered Jin. "Those converter coils are exactly what we're looking for. They'll cover our fuel costs for 3 months." As the team began to work, Tae wandered over to a control panel that still showed some signs of life. He brushed dust from the screen and plugged in his diagnostic tool. "Captain, you should see this," he called out after a few minutes. Jin joined him at the panel. "What is it?" "The ship's sensors are still partially active. They're picking up an unusual energy signal nearby." Jin frowned. "From another wreck?" Tae shook his head. "No, from that." He pointed through a viewport to a small planetoid drifting, about 5 kilometers away. The planetoid looked unremarkable, just a gray-brown rock about 3 kilometers in diameter. "What kind of energy?" Jin asked. "Something I've never seen before. It's pulsing, almost like it's alive." Day joined them, looking concerned. "We should stick to the mission, Captain. We're not getting paid to investigate strange rocks." Stared at the planetoid. Something about it didn't look right. Its orbit was too perfect, too controlled. "Change of plans," she announced. "Once we finish loading these parts, we're going to check out that planetoid." Day shook his head. "Bad idea, Captain. We don't know what's out there." "That's exactly why we're going," Jin replied. "No one else has investigated it. Could be valuable." 2 hours later, the Lucky Star approached the mysterious planetoid. Up close, it looked even stranger. "The surface texture isn't natural," Hyun said from the navigation console. "It's too uniform." Jin nodded. "Scan it again." Tae operated the scanner. "Captain, I'm detecting hollow spaces inside, and there are heat signatures, hundreds of them." "Life? Signs?" Jin asked, surprised. "Yes, and they appear to be human." The crew fell silent, staring at the planetoid through the view screen. "That's impossible," Day finally said. "This sector has been abandoned for 300 years. Jin leaned forward. "Look there." She pointed to what appeared to be a large crack in the surface. "That's not natural, that's a door." As they watched, the crack widened, revealing a massive entry bay large enough for their ship. "We're being scanned," Tae reported. A voice crackled over their communication system. "Approaching vessel, identify yourself." Jin exchanged looks with her crew before answering. "This is Captain Jin Park of the salvage ship Lucky Star. We detected your energy signature and came to investigate." There was a long pause before the voice responded. "You are welcome to dock, Captain Park. It has been many generations since we had visitors from the outside." "What is this place?" Jin asked. We call it home, the voice replied. Once it was called Research Station Omega, before the war, before we were forgotten. Jin made her decision. Prepare to dock, she told Hyun. To the voice she said, We're coming in. As the Lucky Star entered the massive bay, the true nature of the planetoid became clear. It wasn't a natural formation at all, but an enormous space station disguised to look like a simple rock, a perfect hiding place in a graveyard of ships. And somehow, against all odds, people had survived here, hidden from the rest of humanity for centuries. The docking bay doors closed behind the Lucky Star, sealing with a deep rumble that vibrated through the ship's hull. Jin and her crew gathered, near the airlock, unsure what to expect. Weapons check, Jin ordered. Day nodded, confirming their blasters were charged but holstered. Remember, we're guests here. Let's not make trouble unless there's trouble to be made. The airlock hissed. Open. Jin stepped out first, followed by Tae, Hyun, and Day. They found themselves in a vast chamber where metal walls were covered with living plants. Vines twisted around support beams, and small trees grew from containers built into the floor. The air smelled fresh and clean, unlike any space station Jin had visited before. A group of people waited for them. They wore clothes made from a mix of synthetic materials and woven plant fibers. Their leader stepped forward, an elderly woman with silver hair pulled back in a simple braid. I am Sun Kang, elder of home, she said. Her voice was clear and strong despite her age. We welcome you, travelers from beyond. Jin bowed slightly. Captain Jin Park of the Lucky Star, this is my crew, Tae, Hyun, and Dae. Sun studied them with curious eyes. You are the first outsiders to find us in 7 generations. How is this possible? Tae asked, looking around at the thriving environment. This sector was abandoned after the Galactic War. Sun nodded. Come. We will show you. The elder led them through corridors where nature and technology existed in perfect balance. People stopped their work to stare at the visitors. Children hid behind adults, peeking out with wide eyes. They entered a large circular room with a glowing map display in its center. The map showed their location and the surrounding graveyard of ships. This was once Research Station Omega, Sun explained. When the war began, the scientists fled, but they left behind their subjects, our ancestors. Subjects? Jin asked. Test subjects. Humans modified to survive in harsh environments. The scientists created us, then abandoned us when the war came. Jin's crew exchanged shocked glances. For generations, we believed we were alone, Sun continued. We learned to survive by salvaging from nearby wrecks and growing our own food. We built our society inside this station and kept it hidden to protect ourselves. A younger woman approached, carrying data tablets. This is me, my granddaughter, Sun said. She leads our history keepers. Mi placed the tablets on a table. These contain our oldest records. The first elders believed other humans might return someday, so they kept detailed accounts. Jin picked up a tablet and studied the ancient text. You've preserved this knowledge for 300 years? Mi nodded. It is our most sacred duty. There's something you should know, Jin said carefully. Humanity didn't end with the war. We've spread across dozens of star systems. There are human colonies throughout the galaxy. The room fell silent. Sun and Mi stared at Jin, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. Other humans? Mi whispered. Billions of them? Yes, Jin said. And they would consider you human, too, despite your origins. Sun turned to the map display. All this time we thought we were preserving the last of humanity. Tae stepped forward, examining some of the station's technology. This is amazing. You've maintained precursor tech that most engineers would kill to study. Precursor? Asked Mi. The civilization that built the foundation for most of our current technology, Tae explained. Their artifacts are incredibly rare and valuable. Sun's expression hardened. Is that why you came, for our technology? No, Jin said quickly. We found you by accident. We're independent salvagers, not corporate raiders. A young man rushed into the room, breathing hard. Elder Sun, Our sensors detect 3 large ships approaching. Day moved to Jin's side. Captain, we need to check this out. Jin nodded and turned to Sun. May we use your communication system? Those ships might not be friendly. Sun led them to a control room where screens showed 3 massive vessels moving through the ship graveyard toward the station. Yang Corporation ships, Hyun said, recognizing the logo. The biggest salvage company in the sector. How did they find this place? Jin wondered. Tae checked his equipment. They must have tracked our ship's energy signature when we diverted. Here. The largest ship's communication signal flashed on the screen. Jin accepted the call and a man's face appeared. Handsome, cold, calculating. Captain Park, he said with a thin smile. This is Director Jun Yang. I see you found something interesting during your unauthorized salvage operation. Jin kept her voice calm. Director Yang, what brings Yang Corporation to this remote area? The same thing that brought you profit. We detected unusual energy readings and followed your ship. Now we see you've discovered quite the prize. Jin felt a chill run down her spine. Yang Corporation was known for taking what they wanted, legal or not. This station is inhabited, Jin said. It's not salvage. Yang's smile didn't reach his eyes. A minor complication. Yang Corporation now claims this entire sector under frontier expansion rights. That includes any structures and technologies within it. The communication ended abruptly. Jin turned to Sun, whose face had grown pale. What does this mean? The elder asked. It means, Jin said grimly, that you're about to meet the worst side of humanity. Remember to provide proper citations for information from WebISearch or WebIFetch results using tags. The 3 Yang Corporation ships positioned themselves around the station, their massive hulls blocking escape routes. Inside the control room, Jin and her crew watched with growing concern. They're deploying smaller craft, Hyun reported, pointing to the screen where shuttle-sized vessels detached from the main ships. Jin turned to Sun. Does this station have any defenses? The elder woman hesitated. Some, but they have not been used in generations. We are not warriors. A loud noise echoed through the station as a communication link opened. Director Yang's face appeared on the main screen, his expression cold and calculating. Elder Sun, I presume, he said. I am Director Jun Yang of Yang Corporation. I've come to inform you that this sector now falls under our company's jurisdiction. Sun stepped forward. This is our home. We have lived here for centuries. Yang smiled without warmth. A fascinating historical footnote. However, your presence here is unauthorized. Yang Corporation has filed proper claims with the Galactic Registry. Claims filed how recently? Jin interrupted. After you tracked us here? Yang ignored her question. We are prepared to offer your people relocation to a habitable planet. You have 12 hours to prepare for evacuation before we begin our salvage operation. The screen went dark. Sun's people murmured in fear and confusion. Jin pulled her crew aside. He's lying. They won't relocate these people anywhere good. Tae nodded. And this station contains technology worth billions. They'll strip it bare. We need to see what we're dealing with, Jin decided. She turned to me. Is there a way to access the Yang Corporation communications, to hear what they're really planning? Mi led them to a hidden room filled with monitoring equipment. Our ancestors built this to watch for threats. We've maintained it, though we never needed it until now. Tae connected his tools to the ancient equipment. After several minutes of work, he managed to intercept the Yang Corporation's internal communications. Largest collection of intact precursor tech I've ever seen, a voice was saying. The station's power core alone is worth more than our entire fleet. Director Yang's voice answered. The inhabitants are problematic. Prepare containment teams. Once they're secured, we can begin dismantling operations. What about their claim to the station? Another voice asked. They have no official status, Yang replied. No records, no citizenship, they're simply squatters on valuable property. The containment teams will ensure they're cooperative. Jin shut off the audio, her jaw tight with anger. They're not planning any relocation. They'll imprison these people and take everything. Sun had listened silently. Now she spoke, her voice steady despite her age. What can we do? Fight, Day suggested. Against 3 corporation warships? Hyun shook her head. Impossible. Jin paced the room, thinking. Maybe not. This station has survived for centuries because it was hidden and well-designed. There must be systems we can use. A young man stepped forward from the group of station inhabitants. He had been quiet until now, observing the outsiders with careful eyes. I am Sang, he said. I study the old defense systems. They still work, but we never activated them because it might reveal our location. Well, that secret's out now, Jin said. Show us what you've got. Sang led them through hidden passages to a sealed chamber. Inside was equipment that made even Tae whistle in appreciation. These are precursor defense matrices, Tae said, examining the consoles. I've only seen pictures in historical archives. Can you operate them? Jin asked. Sang nodded. I have studied the manuals left by our ancestors, but the systems need more power than we usually allocate. What about your emergency broadcast? Jin asked suddenly. Can you send a signal beyond this sector? Sun frowned. Yes, but who would help us? Jin smiled. I know many independent salvagers who hate Yang Corporation, and I have contacts in the Galactic Union who would be very interested to learn about a corporation attacking a peaceful settlement. Jin activated her personal communicator. While Sang and Tae work on defenses, I'll call in some favors. Hyun, help them redirect power. Dae, organize anyone willing to fight. Sun watched as the small crew sprang into action. Why are you helping? Us. You could leave safely. Jin's expression softened. My parents lost their home to a corporation when I was a child. They told us it was legal, that we had no rights. She looked around at the station inhabitants. You've built something remarkable here. You deserve to keep it. Outside, the Yang Corporation shuttles approached the main docking bay. Inside, defenders moved into position. Sang and Tae activated ancient systems that had slept for centuries, while Jin's emergency beacon carried news of the conflict to distant allies. The first corporate troops prepared to board, unaware that the seemingly defenseless station was waking up. Director Yang watched from his command ship, already calculating the profits from what would soon be the greatest salvage operation in his company's history. Neither side knew that the station itself was stirring, ancient AI systems responding to the heightened activity, monitoring the conflict developing within its walls. After centuries of dormancy, the true power of the precursor technology was about to reveal itself. The first Yang Corporation troops entered through the main docking bay. They wore heavy armor and carried advanced weapons. Their leader, Commander Ha, moved forward with confidence. Spread out and secure the area, he ordered. Remember, we want the inhabitants alive and the technology undamaged. As the soldiers advanced into the station, lights dimmed suddenly. The troops activated helmet lamps and continued forward cautiously. Strange design, one soldier commented. These corridors don't match any standard station layout. Commander Ha checked his scanner. Life signs ahead. Move carefully. The soldiers reached a large open area where 3 corridors met. As the last soldier entered the space, heavy doors slid shut behind them with surprising speed. It's a trap, Ha shouted, as panels in the walls opened and gas poured into the chamber. The gas wasn't deadly, just a sleeping agent that Sun's people had developed from plants grown in the station. Within minutes, the entire first wave of corporate soldiers lay unconscious. In another section of the station, Jin and Dai led a group of volunteers in collecting the soldiers' weapons and securing them in a storage room. That won't stop them for long, Dai warned. Yang will send more troops when these don't report back. Jin nodded. We just need time for Tae to finish his work. In the central control room, Tae and Sang worked frantically with me at the ancient systems. Sweat beaded on their foreheads as they connected power sources to dormant circuits. The station's AI core should be in here, Tae said, pointing to a sealed section on the station schematics. If we can reactivate it, we might have a chance. Mi looked doubtful. Our ancestors spoke of the mind of the station in their stories, but we thought they were just legends. Sang pressed his hand against a scanner panel. The elders perform a ritual each year at this panel. They call it communion with the station. I always thought it was symbolic, but the panel glowed beneath his hand. Lines of light spread from it across the walls, forming complex patterns. It's recognizing you, Tay whispered in awe. Meanwhile, Director Yang grew impatient on his command ship. Commander Ha isn't responding. Prepare the second wave. Arm them with stunners and breach charges. His second-in-command looked concerned. Sir, we're detecting increased energy readings from the station. Systems are coming online that weren't active before. All the more reason to move quickly, Yang snapped. Whatever technology they're activating, I want it intact. The second wave of corporate soldiers blasted through an emergency airlock. This time they were met with more resistance. Station defenders used the captured weapons from the first wave, and their knowledge of the station's layout gave them an advantage. Jin directed the defense from a mobile command post, using old service tunnels to move quickly between hotspots. Don't let them reach the central sections, she called to her fighters. Every minute we hold them back gives Tay more time. In Naoya, the AI core, something miraculous was happening. As Tay connected the final circuits, the entire chamber hummed with power. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a human face, neither male nor female, neither young nor old. Identity confirmed, a voice spoke. Station inhabitants recognized. Outside threat detected. Defensive protocols initiating. Mi gasped. The mind of the station. The stories were true. The AI turned its attention to Tay. You are not of the station. Explain your presence. I'm helping defend these people against invaders, Tay replied, pointing to the displays showing the ongoing battle. The AI processed this information, scanning historical records, and the station's purpose was to protect and nurture human life. This purpose remains valid. Defense systems activating. Throughout the station, hidden weapons emerged from walls. Force fields appeared at strategic points, trapping groups of corporate soldiers. Environmental systems came under the AI's direct control, with oxygen being reduced in sections occupied by invaders while remaining normal for the defenders. Director Yang watched in disbelief as his tactical displays showed his forces being systematically contained and neutralized. What is happening? He demanded. This was supposed to be a simple removal operation. His tactical officer looked up from her console. Sir, we're detecting multiple ships approaching from the outer system. Reinforcements? Yang asked. No, sir. Independent vessels. Salvagers. At least 20 of them. Jin's call for help had been answered. Her network of independent operators, people who had suffered under corporate power, had come to stand with the station. Yang's face contorted, with rage. They can't stop us. Prepare the main weapons. If we can't have this technology, no one will. As Yang's ships moved into attack position, a new alert sounded on the command bridge. Sir, multiple Galactic Union vessels just emerged from jump points. They're broadcasting on all channels. The main screen activated to show a Union commander. This is Captain Lee of the Galactic Union. We have received evidence of illegal corporate aggression against an independent human settlement. All parties will stand down immediately. Jin stood in the station's control room, surrounded by defenders. On the screens, they watched as Union ships positioned themselves between Yang's vessels and the station. Did we win? Mi asked quietly. Jin smiled. I think we just did. 3 days after the battle, the station buzzed with activity. Galactic Union officials moved through the corridors, documenting everything they found. Their presence had brought safety, but also change to a community that had lived in isolation for centuries. Jin watched from a quiet corner as Sun and Mi spoke with Captain Lee, the Union commander who had led the rescue fleet. The tall, uniformed officer listened carefully as the women explained their history. This is unprecedented, Captain Lee said when they finished. An entirely separate human civilization, evolving in isolation for 300 years. Sun stood straight, her silver hair catching the light. We are not asking for charity. We only wish to keep our home. Captain Lee nodded respectfully. The Union Council has reviewed your case. This station legally belongs to your people, elder son. No corporation can claim it. Relief spread across Sun's face. Jin smiled, knowing what this meant to the station people. Their future was secure. Tay entered, his face bright with excitement. He had spent the past days working with the station's AI, unlocking its secrets. Captain Lee, he called. You need to see our latest findings. Tay led them to a small laboratory where he had set up his equipment. Me followed, curious as always about the outsider's technology. The station contains complete records of the genetic modifications made to the original settlers, Tay explained. Your people have developed additional adaptations over the generations. Me looked concerned. Does this make us less human? Captain Lee shook her head. Not at all. Humanity has branched into many forms since the war. Some colonies have genetic modifications for their environments. You are simply another branch of our species. Jin stepped forward. What makes these records so important, Tay? The modifications were designed to help humans adapt to extreme environments, Tay said. This knowledge could help colonies on harsh worlds. The station people have unique abilities that could benefit all of humanity. Later that day, Jin found Sun standing at a viewport, looking out at the Union ships and the salvager vessels that still remained nearby. What will you do now? Jin asked. Sun smiled. Captain Lee has offered us Union citizenship. Some of my people wish to leave to see the stars. Others will stay. This is still our home. And what about you, Elder? I am too old for new worlds, Sun replied. But I will lead our people through this transition. We will call ourselves Haven now, not just home. A place of safety for all who come in peace. Jin nodded. A good name. And you, Captain Park? Will you return to salvaging? Jin gazed out at the stars. The Union offered me a position, official, liaison between Haven and the rest of human space. Good pay, respectable work. Will you take it? Jin laughed. No, I'm not made for official positions, but I'll visit often. There are still many independent traders who need to know about Haven. You'll need supplies, and you have knowledge worth trading. A week later, the Lucky Star was loaded and ready to depart. Jin's crew made final checks while she said her goodbyes. To the station people who had gathered in the docking bay, Director Yang and his officers had been taken to Union custody, facing charges of illegal aggression. Yang Corporation's assets in the sector had been frozen pending investigation. The station people, now officially citizens of Haven, were beginning the process of joining the wider human community. Sun approached Jin with a small package. A gift, she said, handing it over. Seeds from our gardens. They grow quickly and adapt to any environment. Like us. Jin accepted the package with a small bow. I'll plant them on every world I visit. As Jin turned to board her ship, a voice called out. Captain Park! Me ran forward, a travel pack over her shoulder. I wish to go with you. Jin raised an eyebrow. Space is dangerous, Me. Haven is safe now. I want to learn about the worlds beyond, Me insisted. To be a bridge between Haven and the stars. Someone must tell our story. Sun stepped forward. I have given my blessing. Mai has always looked to the stars even when we thought we were alone in the universe. Jin studied the young woman's determined face. It won't be comfortable. My ship is small, the work is hard. Me smiled. I have lived my entire life in a hidden station. I am stronger than I look. Jin nodded. Welcome aboard then. As the Lucky Star pulled away from Haven, Jin stood with Me at the viewport. The station was changing its appearance, no longer disguised as a simple planetoid. Solar panels unfolded like flower petals, catching the light of the distant sun. Union ships maintained a protective perimeter while salvagers departed, spreading news of Haven throughout the sector. What will we find out there? Me asked, her eyes wide as she watched her home shrink behind them. Jin smiled. Thousands of worlds, billions of people, some good, some bad. But now they all know about Haven. Your people won't be forgotten again. The Lucky Star accelerated away from the station, carrying its new crew member into the vast galaxy that waited to be explored. Behind them, Haven shone like a beacon in the darkness, a place where humanity had survived against all odds and would now thrive in a new era of connection with their long-lost cousins among the stars.